Welcome back to a brand new episode of Mastering Programming. Today's episode, I have my second guest here on Mastering Programming. It's Andrew Riad. He's actually been one of my really close friends since 2014. We went to the same high school together, and we've been really close friends since then. Andrew studies business at the moment, and he actually has one last year left, so he's nearly there. And he did learn a lot, not just throughout his uni, but throughout his life. He was always smashing school, always smashing uni until now. And basically, I brought him here because I do think he has a lot to share, whether it's about personal development, how to gain knowledge, how to control your emotion and energy, and just so much more, honestly. So I'm just going to let him introduce himself and speak more about what he does for now, and then we'll see how it goes.
Thank you very much for that warm introduction. Just wanted to let you guys know before we head on, Prime Supplements sponsored by, where you get all your supplements, Summer's around the corner, so you're trying to lean in, look good and build muscle and stuff like that, which is fair. Check it out. We have a website for it. So, alrighty, today we're speaking about personal development. Now, in terms of personal development, there are a couple of categories that I like to space out when I try to look at my day. One being starting off with knowledge. Yeah. So if you think about it, there is two types of knowledge you get. So number one, you get your formal knowledge, go into uni, school, you learn those type of things. And then there's one where there's like self-knowledge, where you actually put yourself out there and you try to, learn something because you actually enjoy it. And that's a really important thing. The reason why is because everything that I'm about to list after always overlaps with knowledge, because knowledge is the one thing that you could progress in and will actually help you keep going at it. So yeah, so first thing first, knowledge, 100%. I definitely think knowledge is a really, really important thing for personal development. What do you think?
I agree, but usually what I find hard is not really what's important in personal development, but it's really how to gain that knowledge to begin with. I find that usually how I personally get it is a little bit different, specifically when it comes to formal knowledge, like from school or uni. I find myself having to learn in a completely different way than most people. Sometimes not efficient, sometimes it is. But
yeah, 100%. 100%. I get that. Like me personally being in school, it told me, I have to develop certain habits in order to, get what I wanted, whatever goal it was. Whatever, back then it was like, the ATAR. ATAR is a huge thing. You got to go for it, go big, and just lock yourself in a room and sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And, study, and then get the highest ATAR. And then whatever uni you get into, the highest uni, try in for that and sort of stuff. But later on you progress and you find out, hey, it's not all about that, So yeah, 100% I'd say, look, it came from knowledge. It did. Think about it. If it wasn't for formal knowledge, the habits of studying and all these sort of things you learn in school, like going to school at 8:30, finishing at 3:30, that's a habit, And so because you already have that habit, you're able to build on new habits. Like for an example, all right, well, if I could study from 8:30 to 3:30, and you're like, what? How old? 12. School time,
yeah.
No, not even kindergarten. How old would you be in kindergarten?
Like, let's say 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you learn this since you're 5, and think about it. You could build on that. You could form a new habit and so forth off that based on 8:30 and 3:30. You just sit down and try to learn whatever you can. Second thing I think is really important for personal development is emotion, something to work on yourself. Not just emotion as
is that between people, or is that emotions
both?
In terms of what? Yeah,
I think both. Yeah, so between people and with other, within yourself, emotion to me equals energy, essentially. So it's what type of energy you bring to the game. So think about it, your closest mates. I'm 100% sure some of you can think to the top of their head, a really, really personal friend that you could always, it's fun to chill with. There's some people like that.
Yeah.
They just have that charisma.
You don't even have to be close with them. You can just kind of chill with them and you're having a good time.
Legit, yeah. And it's not forced or anything. You can legit just have a good time.
Yeah.
And there's some people that, they just really, really drain your energy.
Yeah.
And it requires even more energy to speak to and all that sort of stuff.
Like work friends.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. You know how many work friends I have that it's so draining to like
Yeah, for sure.
go out and all that sort of stuff. But you have to do it. You
Yeah.
have to do it. And it's important to make sure that the energy you bring to that is good. And the reason why is because people don't know that if you put out negative energy out there to other people, they're not going to have a good time. And if they don't have a good time, they're less likely to invite you to things.
True. What? So, what do you do if you're the person who has a bad energy?
I'd say, honestly, like, see, you got to first know that you're putting out negative energy. Like, if you feel like you're down most of these days, all right, well, how do I fix that? Well, goes back to number one, knowledge. I'd say pick up a book. There's so many like self-help books that like help you. Like they're instructional. They'll be like, okay, try this in the day. And you've seen some of these posts on like Facebook and Instagram saying, oh, there's like this bus, and then there's a sunny side, and there's a rainy.
Yeah,
seen that one?
Yeah.
And someone's sitting on the sunny side saying, oh, I'm having a good day.
Yeah.
Someone's sitting on the rainy side, oh, having a bad. Yeah, there's stuff like that, and it's instructional and it helps. It does help. So yeah, the first thing, still, like I said, knowledge. You got to first even know. Know. You got to know that like you put out bad energy, and you got to fix that in order to better yourself as a human being. Because like,
so accepting it.
yeah,
Start,
100%. Yeah, you got to definitely accept that if you do have a bad energy, you got to get it up there. You know, you got to be like buzzing, because like if you, like I said, if you put out bad energy in there, like it will kill your chances of, say, for an example, I don't know, a friend has a business idea, but if they don't enjoy your company, what makes you think they're going to go in business with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that puts it as like a really roadblocker. And for, I don't know, people in your channel doing programming and stuff, I think that's really important as well. Like, I know programming is also based on like teamwork and all that sort of stuff. Most of the time, sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm assuming, like...
Yeah, if you're working on a big project, you're going to work with a lot of people, yeah.
Exactly. So imagine if you're the type of guy that people just don't want to work with. Guess who they're going to go to? Someone they want to work with. So that, yeah, it does definitely make sense. Another thing important into your personal development, I'd say, is honestly a really, 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 really big one. Would say health.
A lot of people like that.
Yeah,
especially when it comes to the programmers.
Oh, yeah.
When we sit behind the desk the whole day.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like 100%. It's definitely health, and most people, they don't pay much attention to it, I'd say, because like you're young, you think you could put that aside, you know, and you could focus your energy somewhere else. Like for an example, if you have a project coming, less sleep, you know, and all that sort of stuff. Focus on the project and getting it done. So what I'm trying to say is, with health, it's very important. And I'm not talking about like gym and all that sort of stuff. Not yet, at least. I'm saying health as in the foods you eat and your daily habits. Yeah. So I personally just found out how important it is in like the plate you eat. Like there's a book. It's a really good book. I do recommend it. It's called Energy Plan by James Collins. It's a really, really good book. If you're trying to actually better your health, I definitely do recommend it. So essentially he speaks about like having performance plates. And so these performance plates, it's based on your day. People think as food as an enjoyment. This guy brought in a new idea to the table. He was like, no, it's more for energy. How do you push through your day? You know, how to feel better in the day. And so he talks about, like, for example, having a fueling plate where it has a portion of protein, carbohydrate, fats, veggies, and fruits. And I thought, wow, this is interesting. Like, I never thought about that. I thought food was enjoyment. And, like, you know, whenever, like, you're trying to get ready for summer, you got a calorie deficit, which means just lower your calories and then you lose the weight. But no, it actually definitely affects your energy, which goes back to number 2. You know, they all correlate. Like,
but it seems like all of them go back to knowledge. Like,
yeah,
you have to gain knowledge about whether it's health or about yourself to go good with both.
100%.
Whether it's emotion or health.
Yeah. And like, that's what it was going to lead to. Like, how do you know how to eat better?
True.
You got to research it. Like,
would you say gaining knowledge in general would make you happier? Or like, have better energy?
No, I wouldn't think gaining knowledge will make you happier. I think it will do actually quite the opposite, because
Oh, okay.
it makes you think like, oh, you haven't been incorporating that knowledge for how long?
Mhm.
And so you are pretty, like, if you think about it, you are a little bit further behind if you read it, if you like understood it at that time. With not if you gained the knowledge back then, you could have been at a better place. That's what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say. Yeah. So it's like a catch-22. Like, honestly, like, it is gaining knowledge. Yeah, it makes you happier because obviously you're more informed. But at the same time, it could also like say, oh, there's just so much out there. It can cause anxiety. It can cause there's so much to do in the world. I don't know how I'm going to get through all of this. You get me?
So how do you go around that? Like, how do you gain enough knowledge so that you're happy, but at the same time you avoid being getting that feeling of anxiety or that there's so much that I could have done? Like, is there a way that you can actually do it?
Yeah, of course. So I'd say number one, with knowledge, you have to first know that you lack it. So someone that thinks they're a know-it-all, they're obviously not going to go out there and look for it.
Yeah.
And so I would say, honestly, you first got to find out, like, what are you lacking? And that's what I'm trying to convey in this video. Like, I'm trying to say, oh, there's like so many different parts that you have to take into consideration every day. Every day. You have to put it in there. And there's 7 things. 7 things that you have to look for. So number 1, like I said, was knowledge. Number 2 was emotion, energy. What I like to call it energy. People look at it as emotion. Another thing was health. The 4th thing is now physical, your physical body.
Mhm.
So again, this one does come into how you look. So I know some people are so against about why does it matter how I look? Well, it does, because it gives me a first impression of you. So let's say, for an example, you're not fit, yeah? That tells me, okay, well, if someone rocks up to a job, like personally, if I was to conduct a job interview and I see that they are very overweight, obese, okay? I know it's bad because you're going to be judging at first look.
Yeah.
I know, but we do it. We know we do it. We
I
definitely,
don't.
yeah. Yeah. So if you are obese, okay, sure, you might have a health problem aside that's causing that. And like, obviously the person looking at you wouldn't know that. So it's not good to judge. That's where it comes from. But unfortunately, it happens. So you don't want that as a roadblock. And what I mean by why would they judge you is essentially, me personally, this is what I do. Like, if you don't have like a certain I don't want to say physique, but even if, yeah, it's alright to have body fat on you. It doesn't matter.
I have body fat.
Yeah, but like, it will tell that you don't have certain disciplines in your life. That's an indication. Think about it. Everyone that looks good, or like looks moderate, you don't have to look great. You get me? But anyone that's not obese, yeah, they put in some effort in their body, and it does make a difference. It shows me that they're able to create that habit, and it's not an easy habit. Like, going to the gym 3 days a week, that's great. Going to the gym 4 days a week, that's amazing. Going to the gym even once a week, it will still show results, so long as you're consistent. So I think personally, physical is an important role, and because even going to the gym, you get all these happy hormones being released. It makes you happier. It makes, like, I do most of my thinking in the gym. Like, most of my ideas came from the gym.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, it's just bizarre. It's weird how it happens like that. So I personally do think physically it's important. Like, you gotta have these habits in there. You do. You just do. And working on physically is a good indicator. Why? Because you see the change.
Mhm.
And it's motivating. It's like, okay, well, all right, if I could change number 4 in my list out of knowledge, energy, all that, well, obviously I could do
Change the
better and change the rest. Yes. And also, a good thing about physical is it helps you with your health, which is the 3rd thing that I listed. Your energy. So if your energy is down, it's also most likely you are not eating well, which will impact the way you look. Like, it's
all
all
impacting
linked.
you, yeah.
Yeah. And how do you? Okay, some people have anxiety. How do I train in the gym?
Through knowledge.
Through knowledge.
That's pretty cool.
Keeps going, keeps going, keeps going. Yeah, it's just, they're all intertwined. Like, it's, I don't know how to explain it more.
Did you always follow this? Like, did you always know about this,
Yeah,
or was
yeah.
there at some stage, like prior to graduating, where you didn't really follow this? Like, did you always know all those points, and You always had a plan on how to stick by each one.
No. I had some of them, not all of them. Like for an example, during HSC, um, I was focusing more on habit. I was okay. Well, like habit and discipline. Discipline was a really important thing for me because I had a lot of mates that were chilling, hanging out, going out, and they would invite me, and I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
But like it was good that I didn't go because it built that like I'll call it like
So
a
you don't regret it
discipline
at all?
muscle. No, I don't. I like look, I do not regret it. There's some aspects that I regret at how much effort I put in my studies back then, formal studies.
Mm.
The ones like for an example, a lot of things were on your ATAR back in my schooling. So I do regret see I can't even say that. See, like I regret the pressure I put on myself. That yeah, I do regret. I would admit I do regret the pressure I put on myself. But I do not regret the effort I put because the effort helped me realize that I could put that effort in something else and be able to build on that as well.
That's really good.
Yeah, so like
But how you used it at that time made you feel like it affected your health or your emotion.
Yeah, but
maybe not your knowledge.
But yeah, see, and like yeah, fair enough. But
well, actually, maybe your knowledge to like a practical thing. Like maybe you focused on something too much that you didn't use now.
Yeah.
Or no?
No, you're right. But like I'm saying, I wasn't focusing on health and my energy. If anyone knew me back in the HSC, like when I was really studying and going out there, my energy was down. Like
you used to have black eyes.
Yeah.
Come to school, head down.
Bro, hairline lost, bro. Yeah, like I'm bald now, but I'm wearing a cap to you know. But but nah, legit. What's it called? Yeah, I was stressed, and like for an example, if
everyone
you didn't,
could see it.
Yeah, and if you didn't say anything that was like important, I'd like get angry in my head, like why are we talking about this?
You wouldn't listen to begin with.
Yeah,
like,
it was really bad.
You would sleep while you're talking to him. Like,
oh man, it was horrible. So health is important. It does because I feel like if I focused a little bit more on health, I could have even gotten like a better position wherever I was in my studies, because it would have given me that vitality, energy to put in more work. Because towards the end, I slacked off. Like I didn't have the energy, I didn't have the vitality to continue study. Like I was so passed out from 1 year. Eventually, your body will catch up to you. And I was doing things like waking up at like 3:30 to study before school. Like man, does that bring me back? So yeah, like I was genuinely going to like micro sleeps during roll call. I wasn't paying attention to roll call. I'll just be putting my head down, you know. So yeah, that was really, really bad. And like yeah, school time I didn't learn much. I was doing it by myself. And so I really think if I was taking care of my health, I would have actually been able to achieve more and study more and study better. I would have had my energy up. I would have been friendly to everyone and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so like they all intertwine.
Andrew, did the results that you got, like, were you happy compared to how much effort you put? Like, you seem like you did put everything out there. Oh, were you satisfied with the end result?
Question. Ooh. Honestly,
you don't need to mention your end result, obviously.
Yeah.
You can, but you don't need to. But...
no.
Really?
No.
What?
No. Look, I had for any of you that don't know, like there's this award that's called like a DUX. It's like the school award, what you achieve. I thought winning that is crazy because I used to see the past years before me graduates and they'll get it and like, oh man, it would be like, oh, you know, imagine that, like having your name engraved on a trophy and all that sort of stuff. So I really wanted that award. I did. But like the actual moment I got up, I was like, oh man, this isn't anything how I feel.
No.
I remember they announced my name, got up the trophy. I was like, is this it? Like I tried to even prolong the moment. You know what I did? I took the trophy home. I asked the principal.
I thought you were meant to take it home.
No, you're not. You're supposed to leave it in. No, they give you a trophy, a fake one, like just to take home to keep forever, and then the proper one with the names of all the history of the school stay with the school. So like I tried prolonging the moment. I feel like,
wait, is your name engraved at school?
Yeah. But it's not as cool as you think, man. It's not like I I do not care anymore, like at all. But essentially, what's it called? I tried prolonging the moment. I finally went up to the principal. I was like, "Hey, mate, like I put in this amount of work. Can I at least take it home? You know, I wanted to take photos of it. This. I tried. It
Did he end up giving it to you?
Yeah, he did. He did. He
Oh,
was
nice.
nice. He was
That's
a nice
sweet,
guy. Yeah. But yeah, like it didn't do anything much for me.
Wow.
But yeah. So, anyways, moving from that.
Yeah. Go.
The fifth step in personal development is finance. Yes, and based on some people would say.
So,
people,
what are you doing right now for work? Like, how break down your finance before you get into finance?
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
so
fair
they know
enough.
where you come from.
Yeah, fair enough. So then that shirt I pulled up, Prime Supplements. I'm working there currently. I'm working at a supplement shop. The reason why I'd say is because the boss there, he's a very nice guy, and he's actually taking me under his wing, and he's teaching me about all these business aspects of, right, the supplement industry, and it's really cool. Like number one, like I said, I'm trying to get more into health, trying to learn more into nutrition and stuff, and without doing the whole degree, because I'm doing a business degree. I'm into finance and marketing. Like I find those two things really cool. Number one, finance, it's money.
Yeah.
Like it helps you with money.
Yeah.
And marketing, number two, you find out like, there's companies do really smart things to get you attracted to their products and stuff. So I found that really cool. But yeah, back to my work. Yeah, he's taken me under his wing. He's taught me a lot of things. Like,
it's more than just a retail job.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and like there's a lot of thinking that has to go with it to bring your business to another step and so forth. So yeah, that's what I'm currently doing for work. Supplements. I really enjoy it. So if you guys need any help with supplements,
I'll put your email.
Yes. Oh yeah, my email. Thank you. But yeah, so back to the whole topic of finance. So I think this is important. A reason why is because depending on how you spend a dollar, determines like who you are as a person. So I'm not telling you to be like there's a big trap when it comes to money because people think from biblical verses sometimes money is associated as like evil, the root of all the love of money. Alright, so the verse ends up being, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Okay, so essentially, yeah, like towards my community, or where community actually, the Coptic community, Orthodox, we look at this verse and we automatically, not really, like some of the people there think like, okay, well that means I shouldn't be money hungry, because that is evil. But the Bible actually says in like Proverbs and stuff, it goes into more depth and it tells you more about how it is wise to actually use your money wisely, and like it even tells you like it's good. You're considered a good man if you are able to actually leave inheritance to your sons and your grandsons. It actually says that in the Bible. I don't know the verse. Definitely don't know the verse. It's definitely in Proverbs. But yeah, so finance is an important thing, and I don't mean you put your whole life on hold for finance. I actually took a big L. I took a big L. One of my years, right after HSC, I thought, okay, well, I'm young, might as well just work. No need to have fun and stuff. So I was working a lot, a lot. Like I'm talking about, I was working back then at Telstra and McDonald's.
Like you'd think he's dead.
Yeah, and I had another job as well, factory.
Yeah, factory.
Yeah, I was picking up factory and tutoring.
Yeah, you did everything.
Oh, 4 jobs, yeah. Yeah, 4 jobs. I remember.
You're the reason no one couldn't find a
job. But yeah, so what's it called? Yeah, I was working a lot, and to the point I ditched 2 jobs. No, I ditched the factory job, and this is how my day went. I wake up. I used to have to catch a train to get to Telstra, and it was far away. It was like an hour and a half trek. Okay, so I'd have to wake up at 7:30. I have to be at the train. Catch the train at 7:30, and then go to work 9. And then work from 9 to 6 and catch it back. And back then I did start to care about my physical health. So I went, this is time I'm into the gym.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to incorporate gym in there. So I signed up for a gym right next to where I used to work for Macca's because I wanted to make extra cash. So straight up, 6 o'clock, I had food packed with me. I'll get home because I finish work at 6. Get home, I'm 7:30.
Yeah.
And I'll drive to the gym, smash it out an hour.
Was
Okay.
all of this while you were still going to the gym?
Yeah, yeah.
Whoa,
And then
really?
after what's it called? I'll start my shift at McDonald's, which starts at like 9 p.m. ends at 2 a.m.
So how long would you get of sleep?
It will end up being 5 hours,
Oh,
but
man.
like it's actually less than 5 hours because
It's 5
I
hours
finish
from when
at
you go
2.
to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, I was an idiot because sometimes the manager will, like do it like, oh, can you stay back a little bit?
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking, calculating in my head, oh, if I stay back, that's an extra $10 in the bank, or I can use that. Macca's didn't pay me well, but anyways, yeah. Yeah. So I remember for like a week, I got 3 hours of sleep every day, consistently, 3 hours, and I think 2 weeks later, I passed out for a whole week.
Whoa.
A whole week of my life
No
is
phone calls,
gone.
no messages, no
Yeah,
nothing.
I couldn't reply. I couldn't reply. I was dead set. Like I woke up that day. There's a condition called paralysis, something like that. Essentially, when you're just staying in the bed and you can't move, and like
Sleep paralysis?
yeah, that one. Yeah, so I thought I had that, but no, it turned out it was because of the lack of sleep. And yeah, my memory went down. So like, if we were having a conversation,
Oh yeah.
yeah, legit. Like, I think 5 minutes, you could have the same conversation with me.
You
It
think
was,
you had dementia or something?
yeah, it went really bad. So yeah, see, you can't focus at all on finance. My point, like, that was the biggest L I've ever taken in my life. Like, legit, I lost so much during that. I lost so many relationships as well because I wasn't spending time with friends.
Even if you would, it wasn't quality because like
Yeah,
you wouldn't be able to
100%.
focus or anything.
Yeah, and like, I didn't have energy. Again, I did not have that energy to have a conversation, hold up a conversation. But yeah, so finance is important, and the reason why is because, again, in order to obtain finance, like trying to get at a higher level, you got to have habits in there.
Mhm.
And it's like a way of thinking of it. Yeah, is when you get into finance, you start to think, okay, how can I make more money, but at the same time?
Mhm.
Because you only have a limited amount of time, 24 hours. Yeah, everyone knows this. The richest man alive has 24 hours in the day. So how can you utilize it and make more at the same time? And it opens up so many paths that you weren't aware of. Like, for me, it opened up investing into shares, into bonds, all this sort of stuff. But yeah, so, and it's not just investing into shares. You start having conversations with friends that are hoping to open up a business, and you're like, hey, wait, maybe I can help you out. And I was told,
Most of our conversations.
yeah. But see, the best thing is, I was actually told, I don't know by who, but they said if you help someone achieve their goals, somehow it'll end up help you achieve yours. And
That's really nice.
that was very nice. Like, if you help
A lot of people would even do the opposite. They wouldn't help you just because they wouldn't want to see you doing your
exactly
own goals. Yeah.
yes, and those people, if you realize, if you actually take it into like history, they don't go that far. Like, if you think about it, like, no one's ever done anything by themselves. Take, for example, Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, I used to think they do everything themselves, but they don't. They don't even end up, like, the formula wasn't even created like by them. They paid someone to create that formula. Found out. Like Virgin Coke, if you've listened to Virgin Coke by Richard Branson, his startup company, he is wrap it up quickly. He essentially went to the same company that makes the formula for Coke and paid them to make his type of Coke.
Oh. Well.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool
That's pretty
information.
cool,
Yeah. So if you think about it, not everyone does everything themselves.
I think it took me such a long time to realize that.
Yeah.
Like I always try doing everything on my own.
Yeah.
Whether through like apps or clients, like I'm just trying to do everything on my own, whether it's the design and stuff. But it was such a hard pill to swallow that like it won't come out as good. Like unless you get other people included. Like
100%. So my end like takeaway is, sure, there are some people that won't want you to go far, but in that way, you know that they can't have that ability to work with others, and so they won't go that far either. Like, you will be able to go far if you're able to, okay, like, create a team, and trust people and stuff like that. Like, again, comes back to, health or more energy, But essentially, it brings us to our next step, which is relationships. Relationships is very, very, very important. I think it's the most underrated one people think that by developing your relationship you're actually wasting time, but it's not. Like, say for an example, right now before shooting this video, me and you went swimming.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it was just like, and if you notice, the conversation we have isn't dilute. It's pretty deep. You know what I mean? Like, it's
and it's still
important.
natural. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's how we naturally talk.
100%. And it's important to do that all the time. Like, in your relationships, don't just talk about like the basics, you know, like, oh, you know, uni, job.
Oh man.
You want to go into deep. You want to
Yeah.
try and like say, okay, well, how are you feeling? How's your personal development going? Like, you want to address, how's your energy? Did you eat right? Did you go to the gym today? You know, and it builds bonds. And the reason why it's so important to build those bonds is because they will trust you more and they will tell you more. People like to open up. People want to say everything they're thinking of, but it's just a matter of who they want to say it to. So you want them to say it to you. Why? Because sometimes you never know. They'll throw ideas at you that just come out of nowhere. Like, it's just, that's a good idea. And you could use that for yourself and it helps. And also, like, for example, if you're going to start up like a partnership, who are you going to think of? Your closest mates that you share actual connection with.
And that you trust as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's important to actually like develop relationships, not with everyone. You don't need to like go in depth with everyone, but the people that you consider as your close circle, it's important to always ask them how they're feeling, how they're going, relationship wise, if they have a missus, if they don't have a missus, what are you going to do about that? How's, you know, like your health going and all that sort of stuff. So it's important. Yeah. So draws us to our last thing, which is spiritual. So spiritual, it doesn't necessarily mean like, you know, attending church and all that sort of stuff. In my personal opinion,
Or any other religion, wherever you do.
yeah, even if you're an atheist, I still think it's important to. It's just like the word spiritual. I know it's really conflicting,
Yeah.
but really, it's actually like talking. So if you're an atheist, yeah, you still talk to yourself. You still have conversations with yourself, and it does make you feel better.
So you're referring to more like being in a connection with yourself.
Yeah, 100%.
Reflecting on yourself,
Yes.
whatever.
But like, if you have a religious belief, like a higher purpose, yeah, you call that praying.
Which I still think is talking to yourself.
Some people will, and some people won't. Yeah. So again, if you're praying, you gotta make sure, okay, you're actually like doing it intelligently. And the reason, what I say, intelligently, is focused prayer. The reason why is, again, if you're atheist, just normal. Take time and just go away from everyone and just think about how's everything going. And so by talking to yourself, you're actually developing a relationship with yourself. Funny enough, and some people, believe it or not, they cannot handle that. If you think about it, have you ever been to the beach by yourself? Are you able to? Have you ever been to a restaurant by yourself? Are you able to do that? So, like, it's really important.
Or even a movie.
Yeah.
I don't think you get actually to go to a movie alone.
100%. And that's something, like, I'm currently working on. I'm trying to actually take myself out more and trying to, you know, just sit down and think about, like, where's everything heading?
Be friends with yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Because, again, like your relationship, you put effort with other people. You want to put effort with yourself. You want to say, okay, well, how about me? How am I going? And all that sort of stuff. And believe it or not, it does help, because it starts to make you realize, okay, what's actually making you happy and what's not. Mm-hmm. Plain and simple. And you start to realize, okay, wait, if it's that simple, why don't I just get away from the things that make me happy? And it makes you think, okay, well, spending some, like me personally, when I go alone and all that sort of stuff, I start thinking about, okay, I go one by one. Knowledge, how can I get better? What didn't I study today and all that sort of stuff? Like, if I've been lacking on health, maybe there's a new book I could read, mm-hmm. maybe a new recipe and all that sort of stuff. So sometimes, like the most recent one I was thinking about is relationships. I was thinking, there's some people, like I said, that have negative energy, and I've realized, like, hanging out with like some of these people, they just make you feel, you know, a little bit crowded and stuff. So okay, just limit it. You don't have to cut it off completely. You don't have to cut it off completely. Absolutely not. Like, I definitely go against that. Even though I have done it in the past, I
Me
have, I
too.
have. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
actually realized that it's not good to do that. And the reason why is because you never know what they're going to say that might change everything for you in a click.
Mm.
You never know. They could,
I think you just don't get bothered to like try with the person anymore,
yeah,
or
yeah.
the
Oh,
thing in general.
100%,
Yeah.
100%. But like I'm saying, if you see them afar, you don't have to have that negative
Yeah.
attitude towards them. But yeah, really, to me, like I said, every day I go over these 7 steps. I say, okay, again, wrapping it all up. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so every day I like to go over all these 7 steps and see, okay, how did I better myself in one of these steps? If I did, I'm happy. If I didn't, and then I have to correct that. Today, for an example, I was my rest day. I woke up late. I went to the gym, good physical, up there. I swam with a friend, good, amazing. Got relationship wise better because we spoke about cool things and stuff, bonded better. And finally, I went to work just out of my own sake, dropped in for like an hour, um, and it built. I built that relationship with my boss. Like I could just drop in, and have a conversation and see where the business is going. So yeah, I definitely do think you need to reflect about all these 7 things, but all of them link together. I feel like.
Well, Andrew, honestly, I when I asked you to come here, I did not doubt at all that I'm going to learn that much from you, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people really enjoyed it as well. If you're watching until now, honestly, thank you so much for watching it
Yeah,
all
that's
the
a
way until the end. That's a really long
long
episode.
video.
I think
Your
it's
attention spam is on
yeah.
peak if you can get through that.
Yeah, for real. So thank you for watching until the end. Make sure you do like this video. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And I'll link Andrew's website below so you can also like check out his Prime supplements. And yeah, help your health and physical shape. Thanks so much for watching and have a good day.